Welcome to today's Afluencer podcast, where we connect small businesses with micro influencers and creators. Today, we have Brian Fullmer on with us. He's the founder and CEO of a social app called the Athlete Narrative, which is the only social app that helps athletes build their own personal brands. Kind of a hot topic lately, especially at the collegiate level with NCAA stuff, making so much money, and athletes just recently being able to monetize their own like this. We got Brian shaking his head already. Brian, welcome, and why don't we get into the background and maybe start there? Really interested in how you came up with the inspiration for Athlete Narrative.
Yeah. So first of all, super happy to be here. We've been doing a bunch of these podcasts because it's kind of spread like wildfire quickly because, as you said, it's literally the only app that does this. And it was kind of spurred from what you talked about, the NIL. And for those that listen to your podcast, they may not be super in depth in the sports world, but what that means is name, image, and likeness. So for the first time in the history of amateur sports, they can actually get paid now. They can get paid for their name, image, and likeness. And up until just recently, collegiate athletes and high school athletes, all the money went to the organizations, to the schools, to them. So for what's available now is the athlete now finally has the power. And that's kind of the brainchild of how this came about, in part, as well as it's just the reality. There's a certain game being played online. So I'll back up a little bit. And one of our other founders, his son is a professional soccer player. He's a stud. He's a 15, 16-year-old kid. And he was invited over to a tryout in Spain for a professional soccer team in Spain. And when he was over there, he was watching his son play with some other kids, and they are kids because they're 15, 16-year-old. And he's realizing there are a couple kids out there that have absolutely no business being out there. They're not good enough to be out there. And he starts asking around. He's like, what is this kid doing out here? What is this kid doing out here? Like, these 3 or 4 should not be out here. And then come to find out, well, this kid, his dad owns a PR firm. And this kid went and hired a PR firm, and so on and so forth. And the reality is there's a game that's being played online, and there's hype put around everyone. And it's good hype or it's bad hype. But certain kids and their parents had the forward thought to go hire a PR firm to put all this hype around these kids to get them exposed and get them into opportunities that they wouldn't have ever had. So he then came back from it, and he's a physical trainer by his normal day job, or what he was, and came back and approached me and my brother, who were both 17 years in the banking and finance industry, and said, guys, I have this crazy idea. What if we made it to where every kid had a PR firm? What if we automate the system? What if we take care of it all for them? And these kids are now able to monetize their system. And we instantly went, this is total game changing. And we went, all right, we're going to have to change what our careers are, and we're going to have to jump headfirst into this. So we created this app, and we can go through the ins and outs of it. That is, I think we should, because your listeners are going to want to know about it. But it came from realization that there's a game that's being played online, and only a handful of people have the ability to actually play that game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very cool. So let's go through that mechanics of maybe what age they would start. I mean, I'm coaching my daughter's basketball team, bunch of 9-year-olds, of course, with big aspirations. At what point would either someone like my daughter or one of her teammates then, when would they consider the athlete narrative? Does it ramp up as you hit these teen years and you're starting high school? I mean, I know all this stuff starts so early these days. I mean, colleges, got eyes on recruits in middle school. What's that arc look like for your users?
It's typically late middle school, early high school is when someone should join. But that also doesn't suggest that if you're a junior in high school or you're even a sophomore in college, you still should jump on this because it's going to benefit you. But in an ideal situation, like in a vacuum, for like the perfect client, they're an 8th grader or a 9th grader. And that's the perfect start for them, because as you know, social media takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's the consistency that we need. So the earlier the better, but don't take that to mean that if you're like I said, if you're a senior in high school, you still need to get on this, because we will monetize your stuff quicker than anyone's going to, and we're going to get you NIL money quicker than anyone else is going to. And you're not going to do it on your own. Everyone says, well, I could do this on my own. Sure, you could, but you're not going to. So let's simplify it for you.
Oh, sure. Makes sense. Yeah. If you can just install, I see you've got App Store, Google Play, right? And you guys got it all baked in. So take me through what that looks like then. Let's say I get my daughter's then in middle school, right? She's in 8th grade. Like, hey, let's get her on the app. What does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of really cool features. So the first thing she's going to do is she's going to take a very similar to like a personality test. Okay. And we've identified 10 separate archetypes that exist in sports. Ones that are like rags to riches, the underdog hero, the veteran mentor. Okay. And if you've ever taken a personality test or a disc test, it's very, very similar. We had a guy with a bunch of degrees from like MIT and other stuff help us design this. He's a part of the company. They take 37 questions. And those 37 questions then spit out what type of personality they are on and off the field, okay? Why that matters is then we take that archetype, and let's say they're an underdog hero, okay? And we take that archetype and we build posts for them with that through line, with that branding, so that branding is consistent, okay? So that one day they aren't posting, hey, I'm grinding at the gym, and then the next day they're posting kitty cat videos. Well, that's so all over the board that doesn't make any sense, and they're exhausted because they're high school kids. They don't really know how to do this anyway. So we then deliver into their app every single day 3 posts that they get to choose from. So every morning they will wake up and they will see 3 separate posts that are curated and personalized to them, as well as their sport, as well as the series of questions that they ask, which some are personal, so that they can then tell their story and tell their brand and get their eyeballs on them. And it's as simple as they're going to wake up every morning, they're going to see the 3 separate posts, and let's say it's a game day, and they'll be able to see, okay, cool, this post that you guys provided aligns with a game day. All they're going to do is quickly read it, be like, yep, that sounds like my voice. It speaks directly to their camera roll. They can then go directly to the camera roll, choose the image, choose the video, hit upload. And once they hit approved, it will post to every single thing that they've tied to it. So our app speaks directly to Meta. It speaks directly to X. It speaks directly to TikTok. All they do is hit approve, and it posts to everything instantaneously for them. They don't have
very cool on the automation side. So are you injecting then, is it kind of like a script that they're reading and then you're putting their likeness or video over that? Like it's a record of what you're suggesting that they post, or is it even, you've already got that stuff and they just
It's already done. Yeah, it's already done.
It's already done. Is that from the ramp up process then? Part of that where you have their likeness in terms of their image and
yeah. So it's the wording, the hashtags, all of that's already in there for them. It depends on what post they choose, what prompt they're going to choose. Okay, if it's just let's say someone tested out to have like a very stoic personality, one of the posts that we're going to have in there is like a stoic quote. Well, there's nothing for them to do outside of put an image next to the stoic quote. Okay. But if it is like, hey, today is a post about you grinding in the gym, okay, the prompt is going to tell them, grab a video of you grinding in the gym, and then they're going to upload it, and then it throws it together. That makes sense?
Yeah, I got it. That's very cool. Okay, yeah, so you're walking them through it, and it's staying consistent, like you said, with that archetype, like you said, right? This is you're a role player, right? So we want to see you grinding, or you're a star, so we want to see high level of output, right? Okay.
Yep. And what people don't realize at this point, like why does that matter? NIL is predicated on eyeballs on you. Like everyone hears about the huge numbers from the Ohio State quarterback or the SEC, but for the vast majority of them, they're not going to get that money from the university. And they may get a little bit of money from the university. They're not going to get it. What they're going to get is they're going to get money from the local businesses inside of the community. And what these players don't realize, like we're based out of Idaho, that we're born and raised here. This is where this company is. Idaho just approved NIL for high school. So like wrap your mind around that. High school students now can get paid. Well, if Idaho did it, we're like the most conservative state in the nation. If Idaho did it, like all 50 states are going to follow very quickly in this, okay? So now high school kids, if we can get them 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 followers, which it's not hard to do with consistency and time, they then can go to these local businesses and leverage it and say, do you want to give me, you want me to shout you out? You want me to do this? You want me to do this? Okay. And they then can start making money. I think the statistic is over 90% of Division I athletes live below the poverty line. Like, process that. These guys are going out in front of millions of people, but when they go home at night, they're hungry, they have no money, and they're just scraping by, even with NIL. Now, if you take a middle of the road, Division I or even Division II female soccer player, you know as well as I do who dominates social media. Females do. Females kill it on social media. So if she'd been with us since, and we'll use your daughter, she'd been with us since she was a 8th grader or a freshman in high school, we would have her graduating high school with 5,000 to 10,000 followers And then she's going to go into this small local community as a hooper, and we're going to get her another 5 to 10,000 followers. She can then go in and actually leverage with all these businesses and make, 1,500, 2,000, 5,000 a month. Okay. Which then makes her life that much easier. And she's actually taking advantage of the eyeballs that are on her, as well as getting herself more exposure for bigger opportunities at bigger schools. We always tell people all the time, like, we're not a recruiting platform. Like, we're not, but we will absolutely get more eyeballs on you for bigger opportunities, because he with the most eyeballs wins. We all know that.
Yeah, right, which helps you out. So Idaho really beat Texas on approving high schoolers like this. So where's that timeline at? I mean, I can see you I think your point on females, of course, dominate social media. I could also see, I mean, when you said that, I mean, I can imagine high school football in Texas, even here in California. I mean, that would be huge. A lot of these communities, I mean, that's the collegiate or even pro sport. So that could be, it beats the heck out of working in the dining hall for these kids.
Oh yeah. And like, don't kid yourself. Everyone wants to be a little influencer. And for a 4 to 8 year period of the student athlete's life, people care very deeply about them. So take advantage of it and get all of these eyeballs on you. You can go through collegiate athletes, and some of them get it. Like there's a USC basketball player. She's female. She kills it online. She's one of the very few that actually gets it. But then the rest of them don't really get it, but they still have 5 to 10,000 followers because people are craving information and craving stuff from these collegiate athletes. So you might as well give it to them, monetize it. And let's go even one step further. Like, why it really matters is life after sport for these kids. That's really our North Star. The vast majority of them, even if they go to college, they're not going to go professional. We all know that. So let's fast forward. Let's say it's your daughter. She came on as an 8th grader, a freshman. She stayed with us all through college. And come her junior year, we're going to reach out to her. And I'm going to name your daughter, whatever her name is, Stephanie. We're going to reach out to Stephanie and say, Stephanie, what's your goal after college? Like, are you going professional? She's going to respond to us and say, yeah, no, I'm not. Okay, great. Take this career assessment test with us. And let's see kind of where you test out in a career. And I always use this analogy. She's an athlete, so she's probably aggressive. She's probably competitive, which probably is going to lean her to some form of sales. Okay. She then tests back that I actually have a cousin or an uncle or a brother or someone. They run this huge insurance agency. So I've got a connection in the insurance agency and I'm great at sales. Fantastic. All your senior year of college, what do we start dripping into your posts? Business and insurance. So that 15, 20,000 audience that we've spent the last 8 years building start seeing you as more than just an athlete. And come right at the end of your senior year when you're graduating, you're saying, guys, it was a great run. It's been amazing being an athlete, but please give me an opportunity to give you a quote on your next insurance as I join ABC Insurance Company. How much easier of a transition is it into the real world for that athlete now that they have a 20,000 Rolodex? 20,000 people Rolodex. Now, the younger people have no clue what the heck I'm saying when I use the term Rolodex, but like actual raving fans that go, oh my gosh, I like this. I like Stephanie. I like her. Why don't we actually give her an option? And why don't we actually let her give us a quote on insurance? That's monetizing it. That's using the power of the eyeballs that are on you versus just focusing purely on your sport. And we understand why so many athletes don't do it because they're so focused on their sport. They can't think of all the content. It's not fair to them. That's where we come in. Like, we'll do all of this for you. Just hit approve. That's literally all you have to do.
Yeah, that's great on the plug and play aspect of it. So take me through, Brian, the split in terms of your mind as the business owner, as the founder, where you're directing your marketing efforts today. So I see this from the parent perspective, right? Especially as the athletes get into middle school, high school, it's a probably more of a parental appeal until they turn 18, in which maybe they sign themselves up if they're in college, like you said, think about that transition, monetizing in college. Are you also marketing then to the local businesses? How does that split look from your standpoint in terms of like your user base?
So are you, when you're saying marketing to like, how are we getting it out? Help me understand what you're...
Exactly. So I'm just putting myself in your shoes. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm Brian, the first thing I need, and which sounds like you're doing great with, is I need the athletes, right? And which means I probably need their parents, right, on the app to download it and help them out with it, right? So I guess I'm marketing to the parents. And then who else am I reaching out to? Am I reaching out to the local businesses that may sponsor them, or is that So that happens organically on its own. What does that look like?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the businesses ultimately, for the athletes, the businesses come to us because they want athletes that they can trust to speak on their behalf. So the businesses, that one's kind of reversed, but like there's a couple different ways we're attacking this. Is a traditional social media way, and then we've also got a whole bunch of affiliates nationwide already, and we're very proud of our revenue sharing program where we're paying the affiliates. Like the point of sale affiliate is getting 15%. Which equates to $15, and it's not one time. We're very open about it. We do $15 per month per subscription that it exists. So we believe the average life of a subscription in our system will be between 6.5 to 7 years. So you make that, if I'm an influencer who has a reach to parents and has a reach to kids, I'm making $15 per month per subscription for a 6.5 year period. And then there's also, we'll go 2 levels deep, because there are some influencers and other affiliates that they don't have the direct access to the athlete, but they have the access to the people that have the access to the athlete. And they get $7.50 per subscription per month. So we'll go two levels deep.
Gotcha. Very cool. So, and then those are all for the lifetime of the user. So you're paying recurring. Yeah. I love that. That's very generous from an app. I think it's smart also because you're aligned with the longevity of the user. So you're hooking them up. But I like that you guys do that. A lot of times you see, hey, we'll give you the first 3 months or the first year. Yep. In your case, if you're a 6.5, 7 year lifespan, it's nice to be able to reward them if they bring you someone for that long. How much does the app cost, or what are the different plans?
Yep. Right now we only offer the base plan, which is $100 a month, and we're very open. We actually did this. Most people are shocked at that cost because there's a whole bunch of other features, like there's a warning system in there as well as there's a locker room where they're able to communicate with each other as well. And we provide a whole bunch of resources like a recruiting playbook and other stuff. So there's a lot of features that we don't really have time to go in. Like we have a scout system where the athlete's able to go in and let's say that your daughter wants to play basketball at USC. Okay. And there's a feature in the app where she's able to go in and put the head coach of USC's handle, the assistant coach, and the boosters, up to 8 separate people that are all affiliated with USC. Okay. And we will end up working in the background to follow on behalf of your daughter all of those people and the people that follow them. Now, why does that matter? If you know anything about the algorithm, if you are following and you have followers from people of the USC coach, it's only a matter of time before you start showing up in the USC coach's feed and the boosters feed and the position coach's feed. So we're able to let these athletes kind of be almost like snipers, to where they're like, I really want to go to X school, and they can put up to 8 separate handles in there, and then we follow. So again, there's a whole bunch of different features, but at $100, if you went and did everything that we did and brought in, it would cost you anywhere between like $850 to $1,250 a month to do what we're doing for $100. And there wouldn't be an automation. There would be a human that would be writing the posts, and it's a nightmare.
Right, which is why it's going to be expensive if you do it on your own, right? Because you need a human, and now you're kind of into that agency land, which is naturally going to be more expensive. You guys are able to automate what you did. That's great to keep it at that. What I always think of like is the small business price point, right? The
100%.
$100. Yeah. And even though you're selling to, kind of technically selling to consumers, but when I think of what you're talking about, it's kind of like a business app because there's an ROI to it, right? You can,
100%.
You put in early and build up, and then down the road, you're going to get the likeness, the sponsorship deals.
Yeah, the vast majority of these athletes, I believe within roughly a year at most, will not be paying for the app. And the reason they're not going to be paying, they're going to be making more than what the app costs. And then at that point, they're almost like a golden handcuff. They can't drop the app because they're making so much off of the consistency of it, and they're making so much off the messaging of it that I don't have an option. I'm making $700-800 a month. I don't care that it's costing me $100, because if I drop it, all of this is going to stop.
Yep, makes sense. So from an influencer standpoint then, Brian, how can people with the reach, if they're a creator, whatever, reach to other parents? How can they get a hold of you? How can they become an affiliate, a partner of Athlete Narrative?
Yeah, so on our website, the athletenarrative.com, you'll see an ambassador program, as well as we host a phone call every Wednesday night with new ambassadors to educate them, because it's really important that the ambassadors understand the product. So every Wednesday night we'll go through and we'll educate them. But step number 1 would be jump on our website, athletenarrative.com, and then click the ambassadors, and then just click the become an ambassador. And it's really, really simple to do. We've made it super simple, and we'll hold your hand throughout that process. And then we're not a typical like affiliate ambassador play where we just say, hey, you're an affiliate ambassador, like have at it. No. We're going to give you a playbook. We're going to educate you on how to actually sell this. We're going to educate you on the actual steps of this if it's needed. Now, there are those that won't need it, but there are plenty of affiliates that actually need some material and they actually need some content. And we're happy to provide all of that. Our social media people will happily provide you whatever you want.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's very useful. I've run affiliate programs previously, and that's always the number one thing is, hey, here's your affiliate link. It's okay. What do I do with it? What do I even write? And that's huge, being able to get them going on and say, here's the just post this to Facebook. You can tweak it if you want, but use this as a template. Use this as a template on these different platforms. That's big because that's, in my experience, 90% of partners just want to click and share. I mean, they're busy people also, right?
And I don't blame them. They already put in the work to have their big following. They just want to be able to monetize on that following, and if it's a good product they like, I completely get where that mentality is coming from. That's why we operate that way of like, no, we'll give you, and don't hesitate to tell us this is what I need, this is what I expect. Great. If you're going to do this for us, we don't foresee the affiliate program being a forever play. To be super candid with you, because we believe this, we've got enough big corporate things that are happening that this will be a household name within the next 12 to 18 months. So if I'm an ambassador, I go hard for a 12 to 18 month period. And I think they're just because we're already signing up full school districts, full universities are jumping on, but there's still a tremendous amount of money to be made. Again, if you run the math on that $15 per month per subscription on some of these people's reaches, it's not going to be hard. And we have affiliates making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. And again, that lasts for the entire life of it. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand where I say like an affiliate play won't be forever. We're not going to cut off affiliates, but I think there will become a point where you're like, they're going to be like, yeah, I know about this. So I don't know why you're trying to sell this to me. I know about this product.
Yeah, sure. Right. Because you're hitting that critical mass pretty soon when that snowball starts rolling, and then you've got people coming to you, and it's tough. It's kind of like being an Amazon affiliate now, right? It's not, you can't really, it's very difficult to make money because everyone else is one and they pay low because they don't have to, right?
It was great while it lasted. And that's really what I see this. And that's why I think nationwide right now, we have about 74 or 76 ambassadors. A lot of them are ex-professional athletes because it speaks strictly to them. But the ones that are actually doing the best are the ones that have the reach directly with the athletes and with the parents, because it's two separate sells. Why an athlete wants it and why a parent wants it are two separate reasons. And at the end of the day, the parent's probably the one writing the checkbook. So all those that have huge followings with moms and dads, in particular moms, those are the affiliate. If I was an affiliate, I would be licking my chops over this. And I know how many middle to upper middle class mommies follow me and are engaged with me, and those would be the ones that I think would just absolutely do fantastic on this.
There we go. So our mom influencers listening, watching, we'll get the link to your collab on Afluencer, Brian, under this as well for Athlete Narrative, so they can click, apply, and reach us through there. Let me get you out of here with this one. What future goals? I know everyone's always asking as an app person, what's next on the roadmap? You teased it a little bit, but anything that you can share with us in terms of what's coming next for Athlete Narrative?
Well, what's coming next is similar to what you said, Athlete Narrative Junior. We are getting asked for those grade school and younger kids. So a hybrid, cheaper version that gets their feet wet and teaches them decorum and protection and other stuff like that. Because like it or not, social media is not going anywhere. And they need to be taught properly how to do this, and they need to start and starting to start at a younger age. So that what we'll be rolling out shortly is Athlete Narrative Junior.
Very cool. Athlete Narrative Junior. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I spend all day talking to brands, and when they're looking at ways to reach customers, I mean, this is it. It's social media. We don't necessarily know what it's going to look like in terms of platforms or delivery, right? Some of the stuff has gone from static to reels, and TikTok has come up and all that, but we do know social media is, like you said, is not going anywhere. So this is
and the secret sauce to social media. It's not reels. It's not trending audio. It's the secret sauce to any form of success. It's consistency, and that's where everyone fails. Is they can't be consistent with it because it's really hard to come up with the content. That's again where we make it super simple. You have the post every single day. You don't have to do anything outside of hit approve.
That's huge. That's awesome. Brian Fullmer from Athlete Narrative, thanks so much for joining us, taking us through the very cool app, World of Athletes, NIL, your affiliate program, all that good stuff. Appreciate you joining us.
Beautiful, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.